Hey guys, what is up? This is Mr. A. Crizzy here, and today is Quentin Tarantino's 60th birthday. Yep, that's right. Filmmaker, filmmaker Quentin Tarantino officially turned 60 years old today. And to celebrate his 60th birthday, I actually watched his directorial debut, Quentin Tarantino's first movie that he wrote and directed from 1992. And of course, I actually just watched it on Netflix earlier today when I got home from work. And today's Quentin Tarantino movie review is going to be on Reservoir Dogs. Reservoir Dogs is written and directed by Quentin Tarantino in his directorial debut and for movies, feature-length films. And so, Reservoir Dogs is about six criminals and each strangers to one another are hired to carry out a robbery. The heist is ambushed by police, and the gang are forced to shoot their way out. At their warehouse, the survivors, realizing that they were set up, they try to find a traitor in their midst. And of course, to most of us who have seen Reservoir Dogs, the movie opens up with one of Quentin Tarantino's classic opening titles in a movie. That features the George Baker song "Little Green Bag." So, like I said, I watched this movie on Netflix. I actually watched this movie on Netflix earlier today when I got home from work. And I gotta say, guys, this movie was awesome. I gotta say, this is definitely one of Quentin Tarantino's best movies that he's ever made, along with Pulp Fiction. I actually watched Pulp Fiction on HBO Max last year, and of course, I have reviewed Pulp Fiction on my channel last year. So, yeah, I really enjoyed Pulp Fiction, and I also really love this movie too. Reservoir Dogs. This was a classic Quentin Tarantino film as well, especially for Quentin Tarantino's first movie that he made at the time. I also really liked Once Upon a Time in Hollywood because I actually remember seeing that in the movie theaters, and I reviewed it back in 2019. And of course, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was also one of my favorite movies of 2019 as well. And I gotta say, Quentin Tarantino actually does a very good job with directing and writing this movie, Reservoir Dogs. I also like how the cinematography and the way they shot this movie. It's actually well shot. The cinematography and the photography and all that stuff, like the shooting, the way it takes place. And yeah, and of course there is a lot of blood in this movie. Like there's a lot of blood and gore throughout this movie. But that's just the point of how Quentin Tarantino makes these movies, and what makes Quentin Tarantino and what makes us understand of what Quentin Tarantino is up to, and he knows how to make a great movie. And yes, I have heard that Quentin Tarantino is actually working on his 10th and possible final movie before he retires from filmmaking. Because now that he's 60 years old today. Because there might be at some point where he'll just retire from making movies in order to focus on writing film novels. Yeah, because I am looking forward to checking out his next movie, which is going to be called The Movie Critic. So can't wait to see how that turns out. But as for Reservoir Dogs has a really good soundtrack. It has a great and cool soundtrack, and even the performances in this movie I think are well done. Because Quentin Tarantino himself is in the movie. Aside from directing and writing this film, he was in the movie. Tim Roth, who plays Mr. Orange, I thought he did good. And Mr. Pink was played by Steve Buscemi. Because I think he did an awesome job in this movie. Chris Penn and Harvey Keitel and Michael Marsden. Michael Madsen. Yeah, because the performances in this movie I thought were well done, and yeah, because I really loved every single thing about Reservoir Dogs. Oh yeah, and I think when I did some research about this movie, I think there was also a video game based on this movie. I think there was a video game that came out back in 2006. Yeah, I just wanted to point that out. So overall, Reservoir Dogs was an awesome movie from Quentin Tarantino, and I'm going to give Reservoir Dogs 5 out of 5 stars. If you haven't watched Reservoir Dogs yet, then I highly recommend it. And of course, if you haven't seen any of other of Quentin Tarantino's previous work, then I recommend them. Like the ones I've seen, like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Pulp Fiction. Yeah. And there you have it, guys. Happy 60th birthday to Quentin Tarantino. And that's going to be it for this movie review on Reservoir Dogs. And that's going to be it for this video. So make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. And as always, thanks for watching. And until next time, this is Mr. A. Crizzy saying goodbye, everybody, and that's about it.